What's good with it, Black Goose TV family, man? Double salute as always. It's your boy Fluence Boxing back in the building again. And look, I know y'all thought I was never gonna come back with it, but I'm back with it. We here again. Get used to these videos. We're going to be back consistent when it comes to me dropping news, when it comes to boxing on the short side of the game. I'm going to be giving y'all everything y'all need to hear, everything y'all didn't know, and maybe everything you did know, but I just might present it in a different type of way. And tonight, we're going to be talking about that Montana Love controversial disqualification that happened over the weekend. I thought this was interesting to get into. I thought it was interesting to hear Montana Love's perspective on the whole entire situation. Obviously, it all depends on how you feel about it. It all depends on who you rocking with. And it just all depends on, you know what I'm saying, if you look at things with a biased perspective or if you're looking at it with an unbiased perspective. But we're talking about Montana Love. Obviously, over the weekend, he fought Steve Spark. It was a tougher fight for Montana Love. Let's just say that. But I will say this when it comes to a lot of Montana Love's fight. If you watch him, you know that especially when he's fighting I won't say a higher level contender, but an aggressive fighter who is solid. He usually struggles just a little bit in the beginning. It's never really just something that's straight smooth when it comes to him getting his victory. You've seen that in his probably like last 2 or 3 fights where he's gotten dropped by his opponent. He's got bullied a little bit by his opponent. But the thing about Montana Love, he's a rhythm fighter. So he gets stronger as the fight goes on. And not only is he a rhythm fighter, he's a dog. So the more he gets in trouble, the more he starts to excel, in my personal opinion, when I watch him fight. I watched Montana Love for a very long time. I remember way back when he fought Samuel T. and he went to a draw with Samuel T. Like I was big on Montana Love way back then. That's like 5-6 years ago. I'm happy he's finally getting the recognition he deserves now. But with all that being said, I'm not excusing the behavior or the what you can, I guess you can call it the move that he made, as far as some would say throwing Steve Spark out of the ring. Other people would say clotheslining him in a sense on the WWE side of the game. Some would say, hey, they got a little bit aggressive in there. We've seen it before in boxing. He maybe went a little bit overboard, but technically, hey, the guy landed on his feet. No one got hurt. Why was it a disqualification? If anything, take a point away, give a warning, whatever the case may be. I do want to say this. A lot of people who are claiming that Montana Love was trying to find a way out. He didn't want to lose. He thought this was the only way to be able to at least keep himself from taking the L. That means y'all don't watch Montana Love's fight. In almost all of his fights, especially when he's fighting an aggressor, when he's fighting someone who's very aggressive, he tends to have a couple rounds in the middle of the fight where he doesn't look so good. He gets hit. He may get dropped, he may get rocked, but the majority of the time, well, not majority, his whole entire career, when that does happen, he comes back stronger and he ends up going crazy. Like, that's the type of fighter he is. And if you don't know that, obviously, it's because you don't watch Montana Love like that or you don't really pay attention. Now, with me setting that basis and foundation, I'm very interested to see what Montana Love has to say about this particular disqualification. Obviously, he's not going to be in agreement in it. I do remember, I didn't watch the fight. That was his past Fluence Lounge. I was more on the UFC 281 side of the game. But I do remember, I think it was Let's Talk About It. I can't remember who was, but it was one of the BlakGooseTV family members. They was telling us, they was like, hey, man, Montana Love just got disqualified. Go check it out. And I remember me and Zen, we went and looked at it. I personally didn't think he should have got disqualified from it. Some of the Black Goose family members said he should have. Either way, Eddie Hearn was also very vocal, saying, hey, we're probably going to get this overturned. I think that was, they jumped the gun, and obviously Eddie Hearn's going to say that because Montana Love is his fighter. I'll say this. Eddie Hearn's had a tough year with some of his fighters right now, his up-and-coming guys that he's been putting money into. But with all that being said, let's find out what Montana Love feels about this. Let's see if we have any progress in, regards if they're going to keep this a disqualification, if they're going to end up turning this into a no contest. As of right now, it seems like the rhetoric around the boxing community is this is going to be most likely turned into a no contest. But either way, let's get to the nitty gritty. We're doing this a little bit different. I used to always, show the article here, scroll through the article. Y'all don't want to see all the words and stuff like that. So I'm just going to read it to y'all. So y'all pay attention. Y'all make sure y'all listen closely so you know what's going on. Before I get into that, make sure you guys hit the like button below. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Show your boy some love. Be part of Black Goose TV family. Road to 5K. Look, I know I stopped these for a while. I know I did, but we back at it full force. And like I've been saying, man, I got some big plans for the channel when it comes to 2023. So y'all make sure y'all keep showing some love. You guys will also be able to find these videos on my Twitch as well, Fluence TV. So let's get into it. As y'all can see, it's coming from BoxingScene.com. Montana Love believes he was robbed of an opportunity to pull out a victory. Now, do you guys agree with that headline right there? Do you think he was robbed of an opportunity, or do you think his stupidity robbed him of his opportunity, or do you think possibly he just made a bad decision? It happens, and possibly the referee overreacted as well as the commission. But Let's get into this. Montana Love's smile reverberated throughout Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio this past weekend as he made his way through a jam-packed crowd. After watching the undercard fighters put on a show, Love's whole town faithfully, eagerly grabbed their seat and waited patiently for the 140-pound contender to close things out. Standing before the loquacious 27-year-old on the night was the unheralded Steve Spark. Though Love's smile broadened during the pre-fight introductions, he was immediately despondent as an aggressive Spark forced him into an uncomfortable battle. With little to no time to fill out his foe, Love, 18-1-1, 9 KOs, found himself staring up at the ceiling lights due to a knockdown in the second. To the Ohio native's credit, he seemed to stem the tide in the following rounds. In the sixth, nevertheless, chaos ensued. Following an accidental clash of heads, both Spark and Love became entangled in the center of the ring. In kind, Love pushed his man against the ropes before flipping him over the top and outside the ring. As a result, referee David Fields waved off their bout, handing Love the first defeat of his career via disqualification. On the outside looking in, Love's night appeared to be far from ideal. However, according to the flamboyant contender, despite blood trickling down his grotesquely wounded left eye, he believes that things were on the brink of turning around. The fight was just starting to break out, said Love to IFL TV. We wanted to turn it into a dogfight in the late rounds. We knew Steve was going to shoot his wad. He was going to gas out in the late rounds. We didn't have the opportunity. The referee definitely just jumped the gun, made a quick judgment call, definitely was not happy with this. So how do you guys feel about that statement? He basically said, and this kind of goes to the sentiments I was talking about before. If you watch Montana Love's fights, in the first 6-7 rounds, he may win a couple, he may win even 3 rounds, but there's going to be times where he's going to take the brute force of his opponents, especially if they are aggressors and they're coming forward. That's just kind of how he fights. He's a rhythm guy. He's a counter puncher. He's a guy who likes to fill out his opponent and understand what they're doing, read them, dissect it, and then be able to utilize that later on in the fight. So I do believe him immensely when he says that their game plan was, or at least they understood, Spark was going to come out aggressive. He was going to, go crazy. He was going to push forward. He's going to try and get him out early. They expected that, and they were planning on the second half of the fight for them to dominate, which Montana Love usually does in majority of his fights. So I'm going to read this one more time. The fight was just starting to break out, said Love to IFL TV. We wanted to turn it into a dogfight into the late rounds. We knew Steve was going to shoot his wad. He was going to gas out in the late rounds. We didn't have the opportunity. The referee definitely just jumped the gun, made a quick judgment call, definitely was not happy with it. With his record officially sullied, Love is hopeful that Love is hopeful that he'll receive a reprieve of sorts in the form of an immediate rematch. In terms of where he expects their sequel to take place, Love believes that both men should return to the scene of the crime. We're going to do the rematch right here in Cleveland, Ohio. So that's basically the sentiments coming from Montana Love. He's saying, hey, I was robbed. He thinks the referee jumped the gun. Obviously, some people are going to say, well, you didn't take any accountability. At the very least, you should say, okay, well, I maybe went a little bit overboard, flipping him over the ring. I didn't mean to do that. Like, we didn't hear, see, or any of that. That's not Montana Love style. Let's just be honest. I've been following Montana Love for a long time. He is not going to acknowledge that. He's not going to say sorry about that, because in his mind, he's probably like, hey, yo, man, we in there as a dogfight. You knock me down, I can knock you down. It's all part of the game, right? So I want to ask you guys this. This is my question for the BlakGooseTV family. How do you guys feel about the stance that Montana Love is taking when it comes to this fight? Do you guys think he was robbed of an opportunity, or do you think it was a good call as far as it being a disqualification by the referee? Do you think Montana Love deserves a rematch against Steve Spark? Do you think this is going to sully Montana Love's career? Is it going to mess up basically his trajectory? Because the trajectory was slowly going up. He was finally at a point. He headlined his first main event, main card ever. Do you think this is going to take away a lot from it? What are your guys' thoughts of it? This was his first main event fight, signed to Eddie Hearn at his own. Didn't go the way he wanted it to go, obviously. Really worst case scenario other than getting knocked out. But Eddie Hearn, obviously, he himself said he thought it was a bullshit call. He's going to try and get it overturned by the commission. As of right now, the sentiments, the consensus among the boxing community, it seems like it is going to get turned to a no contest, and there is going to be a rematch. But I want to hear from you guys, BlakGooseTV family. How do you feel about this whole entire situation? Let me know. Should he be disqualified? Should it have been disqualified? Should it be upheld? Should they reverse it? Should they get a rematch? What is your guys' thoughts? As always, drop it below in the comments, man. Don't be scared. Get your boy into the algorithm. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not part of the family. Check out the Twitch, Fluence TV. You already know what it is. Much love to people. Stay blessed, not stressed. And on the Arnold Schwarzenegger side of the game, I ain't heard that. You ain't heard that a long last time, man. I'll be back with more boxing. Much love to people. Keep showing support.